Tonight's Wednesday night showdown is brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. We welcome you to Tropicana Field. This is game 2 of the 3-game series between the Rays and the Detroit Tigers. Our perch is the porch. We are right in the middle between dead center field and the Rays tank. Hi again, everyone, with Brian Anderson. I'm Dwayne Stats. So good to have you with us. The Rays and the Tigers square off again tonight. But first, what about our locale, B.A.?
I love it. I absolutely love it. And you get the distinct feeling that at some point tonight we're going to be dodging a baseball coming this way. Hopefully off the bat, somebody in that Rays lineup.
We'll have lots of help to try to protect us here. This is a very social part of the ballpark. Well, the Rays will send Jake Odorizzi to the hill tonight, and really since the 3rd week in June, he has been very, very good, particularly his last 2 times out.
I tell you what, when you follow this Rays club this year, one of the bright spots has been watching the development of Jake Odorizzi and what he has done over the course of the season to turn himself into not only a very good pitcher, but a big-time strikeout pitcher. Had a tremendous road trip, picking up wins against the Cubs, against the Rangers. You like the innings pitched. 13 innings pitched. He's getting deeper into games. Gave up just 7 hits, the 2 earned runs, 16 strikeouts. He continues to rack those up at a high rate, and also in that road trip, the 2 starts, just 1 walk. He's not hurt himself with that walk. Hopefully he can make it 3 tremendous starts in a row here tonight against the Tigers.
And a great pitching matchup. Jake Odorizzi, a lot of fly balls, pitches up in the zone. Rick Porcello, as good as you're going to get with ground balls, and they both have been pitching very well this year. Rays and the Detroit Tigers just around the corner, and for the Rays, the return of Will Myers. He's been gone for 70 games, and when we come back, Todd Callis takes a look at what this might mean to the Rays lineup.
Lineup back in a Rays uniform. We haven't seen him in a long time. He's missed almost half the season, 70 games in all. one of our questions week in and week out on our Web Wednesday was what's going to happen when Will Myers comes back, as well as Kevin Kiermaier's been playing. Well, they're both in the lineup tonight. Will DHing, Kiermaier in right field. You may see Will in left during the course of the next few games as well. You can see what's happened since he's coming back from this stress fracture in his right wrist. He did get a few games at AAA Durham, hit .250 in those games with 2 home runs. You see his numbers for the first 53 games of the year. We asked him prior to tonight's game, how do you feel now compared to those first 53?
I feel a lot better. My BPs are a lot better. My confidence level's a lot better. I was telling the guys the night before, I feel like it's like 2011 and 2012 all over again. I had a bad 2011, and I feel like coming back now, it's like my 2012 season where I was trying to prove to everybody that that year was a fluke, and it's kind of like too many seasons coming up, and I feel good in the box right now, feel confident, and that's the most important thing.
So Will starts a 37-game schedule and season tonight. The Rays need a lot of wins in that time as they currently trail the Tigers by 7 games in the wild card picture. We'll have all the action between the Rays and Jake Odorizzi against the Tigers and Rick Porcello next on Sun Sports.
Moments away for Rays baseball against the Detroit Tigers with Jake Odorizzi on his way to start number 25 on the year. He has won 9 and dropped 9 and squares off against the Detroit Tigers for the first time in his career. Here is the starting lineup for Detroit, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Ian Kinsler again leads it off, followed by Torrey Hunter, and Miguel Cabrera hits third. The DH, Victor Martinez. J.D. Martinez in left hits fifth. Nick Castellanos at third. Alex Avila will catch. Andrew Romine again at short. Rajai Davis is in center field, batting ninth.
And taking the mound tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, right-hander Jake Odorizzi making his 25th start of the season that has evened up that record, and that was with 2 wins on that last road trip, giving up just 7 hits over 13 innings, 2 earned runs. 16 strikeouts to get to the 9 wins. And I'll tell you something, Jake Odorizzi, we talked about it in the open, the continued development of him, fun to watch, facing a team that he's never faced before, a very powerful lineup. This will be a good matchup for Jake. Let's take a look at the defense as it lines up behind Jake tonight. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. In the outfield left to right, we have Matt Joyce, Desmond Jennings, and Kevin Kiermaier. Across the infield third to first, Evan Longoria, Yanel Escobar, Ben Zobrist, and James Loney. Kurt Casale will be behind the plate.
Well, a big game for the Rays coming off last night's disturbing loss. They had a 4-run lead early. It all got away from them, and they dropped it in 11 innings, 8-6. Tigers have had a difficult time of it since the All-Star break. They did get a little help from the Phillies today. Phillies defeated the Mariners 4-3, so Brad Ausmus has his team in position for the second wild card spot right now. And it's all been very tenuous for Detroit. All set to play ball. First pitch of this game to Ian Kinsler, presented by Pinch-A-Penny. Kinsler takes the pitch inside, a ball, no strikes. Kinsler at 283 on the year. And there's a strike, 1-1. Phil Cuzzy is calling the balls and strikes. 15 years plus in the major leagues. Foul right back into the screen, and it's 1-2.
For Jake Odorizzi going up against this Detroit Tiger lineup, don't let the 10 walks from last night fool you. This is a very aggressive swinging team, and they are ready to hit from the moment they get in the box.
Foul ball back. Yeah, that's an anomaly for this team to walk that many times. When you look at a team scoring as many runs as they do and where they are in on-base percentage, and they are leading the league on on-base percentage, but they're down 10th in walks.
Oh, that's because they have such a huge lead in batting average. You know, this is a team just over 3.8 pitches per plate appearance, down in the bottom third of the league.
Yeah, they hit their way on. This time Kinsler is out on strikes. So Odorizzi, who's been a big strikeout guy for the Rays and in the American League, starts this with a strikeout.
And how about that? Just below the belt, right on the outside corner, Ian Kinsler, a good fastball hitter, just cannot get to it. You will see that time and time again tonight on Phantom Cam. The fastball by Odorizzi jumping over the bat of a Detroit Tiger hitter.
Story Hunter. Takes a strike. A little different vantage point from here as we peer in toward the plate.
I like it. I mean, I probably like it too much.
This one is too high. Well, this is what we see from the porch out here in center field.
Pretty good view here. The pitcher's delivery, the way he's driving the ball to the plate.
1-2. Hunter fouling it away. Here we are in center field, perched on the porch.
All of our friends and family, and our highlighting, all our work, our false hustle.
That's it. The foul ball. This one straight back. There's Cabrera, Miguel Cabrera on deck. This will be a great view for us unless Desmond Jennings has to go back to the wall in center field to make a catch. We're not exactly right on or over the railing. If you're up against that railing, you can see that with the naked eye. But we needed a little desktop, and so that puts us back a little bit. So we'll rely upon our very professional and expert crew to show us all the video, anything just below us.
Yeah, and you know what? I guarantee you from where we're standing, unless you go tiptoe, we're missing a good 20, 25 feet out into the right center field.
Good view of the warning track in right and in left from about left center over. This has been a popular spot since the Rays made this addition. Walkway goes up close to 360 degrees around Tropicana Field. Not quite, but it's a great little stroll out here. They're cutting a miss. Hunter is out on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts hosted by Jake Odorizzi.
You know what? And it's been the way that he's gotten these last 2 strikeouts is what has made Jake Odorizzi so very good. The elevated fastball and then the continued development of that changeup. You can see how he splits his fingers, Alex Cobb style. Started throwing that pitch in spring training, and as the season has gone on, it's gotten more and more consistent.
I always thought that was amazing that he was in camp battling for a spot in the rotation, working on a new pitch at the same time. Cabrera pops it up. That's going to be out of play down the right side.
And here's the thing. When you learn, okay, young pitcher, we're going to work very hard to try to crack the staff, a very good starting staff. While learning a new pitch, you say either clueless or confident. And I think with Jake Odorizzi, the way that we've seen him throw the ball this year, it was confidence that led him to be able to do that.
It's been fun to watch his progress. And he had said the other day that he really feels more comfortable now in terms of pitch selection. He's not worried about it. He's just going out there and throwing the pitch that the situation dictates and that his catcher calls for that situation. He's confident.
Absolutely. Confidence, I tell you, it leads to big things. It's the number one thing that you have to have in taking the field of play. And I don't care what level it is. I mean, from junior, high school, college, professional, Major League Baseball, you have to have confidence. That's what Jake has right now. A lot of it.
It's upstairs. 2-2.
It's also familiarity. Familiarity with the catchers. Casale, Molina, Hannigan. Jim Hickey, his pitching coach, understanding what he does well, how they can exploit an opposing offense.
A battle going on with Miguel Cabrera, Jim Hickey, and boy, Hickey, throughout his career, when he was the pitching coach with the Astros in Houston, he had a lot of veteran pitchers over there, accomplished pitchers, developed some young pitchers there, and here it's been primarily young pitching that he's helped develop into veterans in some cases, and he's gotten great performance out of these young arms.
Think about the job of a pitching coach. You're going to have 12 or 13 guys you're going to start a season off, not to mention all the guys that are going to come up during the course of the season. You have to find a way to be able to relate to all of them. And look, Jim Hickey, from the youngest of the young to the most veteran, Roger Clemens, and towards the end of his career, and he is able to do that. That and knowing his stuff is why he's been so successful as a pitching coach.
2-2 hit on the ground up the middle, backhanded by Zobrist, but no play.
Boy, and it almost seemed to be a little bit of miscommunication because that ball off the bat of Cabrera was not hit that hard, and it looked like Ben Zobrist and Yunel Escobar was waiting for one another to take charge. As this ball goes back up the middle off the label, and both of guys just kind of shying away from it. Nobody taking charge, and Cabrera, who does not run well, is able to turn that into an infield single.
Now Victor Martinez, the DH. So Cabrera has himself a hit. Martinez, the third leading hitter in the American League. The first pitch strike, fastball.
Boy, he's had a lot of success against Rays pitching over the years. He leads this team with 23 home runs.
And loves to hit in this ballpark. This really has been a pitcher's ballpark if you get right down to it. That didn't make any difference to Victor Martinez.
And the one thing that he's doing better this year than in years past, and listen, he's a very accomplished hitter from both sides of the plate, but he's using his lower half this year. That is what has led to the jump in home runs.
You know, the other thing that amazes me, he doesn't strike out.
No.
I mean, and right or left hand. He's the complete deal at the plate, either side, contact, power. He seems to get better in difficult situations.
Watch him take pitches. He recognizes pitches out of the hand better than most hitters. His takes, close pitches, and he's got great strike zone definition on top of tremendous hand-eye coordination from both sides.
That's a fair ball headed up the right field corner. Kiermaier will dig it out. Now Cabrera rounds third. The throw to the plate a little wide up the third base side.
And right now, the only reason that Miguel Cabrera was able to score there is because Kevin Kiermaier, in hustling over to that low wall to cut it off, the ball got past him. He had Cabrera lined up to be able to hold him at third base as Victor Martinez gets out in front of this changeup and gets it by Lonely. But watch this ball elude Kiermaier right here, right off the edge of his glove, and that little bit right there allowed Cabrera to be sent, and he ends up getting in. And that's why you get so far down the third base line before you make that call, so you can see the whole play happen in front of you. If Kiermaier gets to that ball and fields it cleanly, Cabrera's on third base right now.
The strike to J.D. Martinez. Cabrera in the dugout after scoring the run, and he did cross the plate awkwardly. He's had some issues, as we discussed last night. He had a sports hernia addressed over the offseason. He's had some hip and leg issues, and he was a little awkward with that slide across the plate.
You also have to wonder how many times has Miguel Cabrera gone first to home.
To J.D. Martinez, way high. 1-2. Two strikeouts, then they singled up the middle. To Martinez at second, chasing home Cabrera. J.D. Martinez at the plate. Rizzi misses upstairs, and it's 2-2.
With J.D. Martinez, how about his season? He gets released by the lowly Astros. Released. Signs a minor league deal with Detroit, and now is in the middle of this very powerful lineup. And the reason why is because he's been very powerful this year.
Fly ball deep into right. Kiermaier is going to go back to the track and makes the catch. That takes care of Detroit in the first. Tigers score one, leave one. Bottom of the first coming. Rays coming in to hit. 6th inning. Detroit with a run in the top of the frame. Here's the lineup. Presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Desmond Jennings leads off, followed by Ben Zobrist and Matt Joyce. Evan Longoria hits cleanup. An 8-game hit streak going right now with 8 runs batted in over that stretch. James Loney at first. The DH, Will Myers, back in the lineup. Yunel Escobar at short. Kurt Casale will do the catching. Kevin Kiermaier in right field bats ninth.
Well, they'll be going up against the right-hander Rick Porcello, making his 24th start of the season. Now, this guy has taken the loss the last 3 times that he's taken the mound. 2 starts and a relief appearance, but don't let that fool you. He's throwing the ball extremely well on the season. As you see, 13-8, ERA of 3.28. Doesn't strike out a lot of guys, but also doesn't walk a lot of guys. Tries to keep the ball on the ground.
First pitch to Desmond Jennings is a little bit up. Tonight's Buick big matchup. Success at 357 with a double and a home run for Desmond Jennings against Porcello. 2 balls, no strikes.
Porcello had a start against the Rays back on July the 6th, and they're able to get to him for 7 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings.
Strike, and it's 2-1. Yeah, that was right after he had thrown back-to-back shutouts on the road against the Texas Rangers and at home against the Oakland Athletics. Humpback popper out there to second, handled by Kinsler.
Let's take a quick look at the Tiger defense as it lines up tonight. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. In the outfield, left to right, J.D. Martinez, Rajai Davis, and Torrey Hunter. Across the infield, third to first, Nick Castellanos, Andrew Romine, Ian Kinsler, and Miguel Cabrera. Alex Avila once again behind the plate.
Zobrist on base last night 5 times. First pitch is a strike. He scored 2 runs, drove in a run. Starts the night hitting .281 for the season. 1 strike.
What's allowed Zobrist to get that average up to .281. He's been swinging the bat great from the right side all season long, but the last little while from the left side, that swing has come around and the numbers have started to jump. Obviously get more at bats from the left side, more right-handed pitching to face. What you know about Ben is good on base guy. And right now, the strike zone well defined. He's taking his walks. He's swinging at strikes. And when, as a hitter, if you swing at strikes over the plate, you increase your chances for positive outcomes.
He walked twice last night in the top 10 in the American League, and walks drawn. Takes it the other way toward the line in the left. That's a fair ball. Extra bases for Zobrist, who's in standing with a double.
It's that right there. Ben Zobrist understands that Rick Porcello, with a good sinker, he's going to see a number of those down and away. That's what he gets here. Look at it sinking to the outside corner. And he just goes out there, doesn't overswing. Watch how easy. Just get the barrel to the baseball. And he drops it out there right inside the line in left field and gets himself into scoring position.
Well, Matt Joyce will have a chance to get the Rays on the board. 278 for the year and 280 with men in scoring position. This pitch is a strike. Fastball from Porcello.
You referenced that start where he struggled against the Rays, what he had done the 2 starts previous to that. Well, the 5 starts after that, he went 2-1 with a 1.75, averaging 7 innings a start. Until recently, lost a tough 1-0 game against the Yankees, but threw the ball well.
And then was involved in that 19-inning game the Tigers had with the Blue Jays forced into action in that game.
And that was in a Sunday ball game.
That's never easy. He'd thrown on the side. Either that, I think it was the day before. Certainly not expecting to go to the mound the next day, but because it was a 19-inning game, wound up pitching a couple of innings, gave up a run, and took the loss in that one. That's one of the 3 straight losses he carries into this start.
Well, then after that, you know, he had the start against the Yankees, threw the ball well, got beat 1-0. What are you going to do? Then, like you said, throws the extended bullpen on Saturday, gets into a 19-inning game on Sunday. That now switches up his next start, takes him out of his rhythm a little bit, and in that start, he truly scuffled a little bit. And that was against the Seattle Mariners. Gave up 10 hits in 6 innings, 5 earned runs, and another loss.
It's going to square the count at 2-2. Give you that changeup as well. The prior pitch, the curveball, and that's been an important pitch for him. It didn't have a lot of break. It stayed up. But overall, that's an important pitch for Rick Porcello.
He'll use it in a lot of different counts, and he will use it to both sides of the plate. He'll try to drop it down and in on the lefties, backdoor it.
The ground ball off the curveball. Cabrera makes the play unassisted. 2 gone with a man now at third base, and we'll check in with Todd Callis. Todd?
Dwayne, it is a Web Wednesday, which means fans can ask you guys questions throughout the course of the game 2 different ways, either by emailing us, sunsportsrays@gmail.com, or through Twitter to @sunsportsrays with the hashtag AskRays. There you see it right below the screen there. Let's send it back out to the porch. I'm very, very jealous right now.
I know you are. We're invading your territory. You're just going to have to live with it.
Todd, you're more than welcome to come out and join us.
Devin Longoria. Pitch is a strike at the knees.
I mean, Arrestas stopped by.
He did.
Say
yes,
hello.
he did. He's wandering around holding court.
I'll be out there.
The porch.
I will be out there, guys.
Okay.
No doubt.
You'll be welcome. Ground ball, third base. Castellanos and his throw to first. So Longoria chops out. The Rays leave a man. 1-0 Detroit through 1. Out the starts, 24 starts for Jake Odorizzi. The first 12 saw him go 2-6 with a .531, and the last 12, 7-3 with a .263.
The big difference, the whip. You start thinking about the walks and hits per inning pitch. You can keep that to a 1-1 type ratio. You set yourself up for a lot of success. 1.5, too many base runners.
Yeah, a lot fewer walks. Castellanos, the rookie third baseman. And the first pitch curveball, and it stays in. 1-0. It's that curveball in around 68 miles per hour. Let's see Porcello drop his in there too, and it's in the mid-70s, give or take a couple miles per hour. Jake falling behind Castellanos. 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, first 2 pitches off speed like most young hitters. Castellanos a good fastball hitter. Or is he trying to take advantage of that? Not been able to thus far.
Chases one there.
Another off-speed delivery. And finally, Nick Castellanos, you get to a 2-0 count. Boy, you are ready to swing the bat. And this, we talked about it. This Tiger team, they're ready to swing the bat the moment they get in the box. You give them a 2-0 count, you increase those odds. Nice change up there by Jake.
Alex Avila, their catcher, is on deck. Nice play by Longoria, and the throw to first right on the money. One gone now.
Well, that ball had eyes for left field, but Evan Longoria said not so fast. Moving to his left, he's able to flag it down, pop right back up, make a nice accurate throw.
One thing about good fielding infielders is body control. Having a nice job there reaching down. His momentum continued in the direction of where he had to make the play. Alex Avila takes a strike.
You know, there are going to be times that you put yourself into compromising positions trying to get to a ball, but it's how quickly can you find that body control again? How quickly can you find your balance point to be able to make an accurate throw?
1-1 count. Odorizzi had an extended first inning after striking out the first 2 men. Gave up the single and a double. 2-2 to J.D. Martinez, got him on a fly ball to right to end the inning. He made 29 pitches in the first inning. By Avila, 1-2. Romine on deck. You talked about the swing and miss for hitters against Odorizzi, and he was 90, 91. That pitch was 89. And he gets the zone there. Avila caught looking.
Boy, caught looking at the changeup. This one has a little bit of action, but not a lot. Stays in the zone. The change of speeds fools Avila, and he catches the bottom of the zone. Pick up another strikeout. He's got a lot of different ways to pick those strikeouts up, and does it with pretty good deception.
Strike one on Romine. Odorizzi 9th in the American League, starting this game at strikeouts. You saw the range, velocity range. A great disparity there from that curveball at 68 and the fastball in the low 90s.
That was a 23-mile-an-hour breakout, and then you combine that with the deception, and that's why you get a lot of swings and misses, and you pick up a lot of strikeouts. Obviously, he has good arm action on that changeup and the fastball, that good riding action with the four-seamer, and he hides the ball very well, as you'll see right here, right behind that back leg.
There's a strike call that takes care of Romine. 4 strikeouts in the game, and 1, 2, 3 go the Tigers.
First time since the end of May. Here's Joe Madden with his expectations.
Getting him back in the lineup, hopefully he's going to pick up the run production a little bit. Whenever he's confident that can happen, he sounds very confident right now. To be major league pitching, everybody's in mid-season to end-season form. He's just coming back, but he sounded pretty good.
Will said he's looking at this, guys, as a 37-game season, a whole new season from what happened prior to his injury.
He'll be hitting second here in this inning, leading it off for the Rays. James Loney, who fouls a fastball back into the left for a strike. Loney got the Rays started in the first inning last night with his 7th home run of the year, a 3-run shot down the right field line. On the ground to second. Kinsler makes that play. So that's the first out here. And that will bring Will Myers to the plate. Will's missing 70 games. The right wrist fracture. So here he is after 7 games on a rehab assignment with the Durham Bulls. He had a couple of home runs and had 3 steals. He was happy to be back. And he takes a fastball for a strike.
Well, you get a chance to go out on these rehab assignments and you want to be active. You want to test every area of your game, not only hitting and defense, but base running, all of that. Your jumps, that's what leads to those stolen bases.
And to third. Castellanos takes care of that. Will out 5-3 in his first at bat back since that collision. It looked serious when he and Desmond Jennings collided.
Well, that was off the bat of A.J. Pierzynski. That ended up ending the ball game, and it ended Will Myers' season for 70 games.
He'd had a little issue with his left wrist, injured the right one. Escobar.
You know, just think about that. Think about a wrist injury to a hitter, and then
it's the worst.
Yeah, right. And then to a hitter, Will Myers, who has such a powerful swing with so much torque.
2 strikes to Escobar.
And that's why he's been out for, had the wrist fracture. 70 games. You're going to be very cautious, and you want to make sure that when he comes back, that's it. He's going to come back and just go from there. There will be no setbacks from here on. That's what the hope is, and that's why the Rays have been so cautious with him.
I'm on the bench there with Jamie Nelson, the Rays coaching staff. Well, happy to be back. There's nothing more frustrating, and you can imagine Will being on the sideline all that time, as fidgety as he can be. Kinsler takes care of this one. Escobar out on 3 ground balls, and that's what Porcello does when he's right. On the former Ray, David Price will be on the hill, opposed by Alex Cobb. Cobb has been outstanding. In fact, he's won 6 in a row. Joining David Price as the only pitchers to win 6 straight this year for the Rays. And so it'll be Price on the hill against Cobb tomorrow.
Well, I'll tell you what, and you go back to last year's, the Rays were making their stretch drive, and these were your 2 leaders, Price and Cobb. So to have them face off in tomorrow's game, how appropriate. That's going to be a big one and a fun one to watch.
Rashad Davis leading off, taking a pitch up. Davis, Kinsler, and then Hunter. Into center field. Desmond Jennings right out in front of us here from the porch, and he makes the catch. First out here in the 3rd. Place your reservations for 2015 ticket plans. Establish seniority today and be in line for priority upgrades to the best seat locations and exclusive benefits throughout the season. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Top of the order now, Ian Kinsler. Rizzi struck him out swinging on a fastball the first time around. First pitch inside. Started him with that changeup that time. Back with it, and he gets him on a swing and a miss.
Well, like a lot of the Rays pitchers, not afraid to double up on that pitch, triple up. You just do not want to be predictable, and if you've got confidence in your ability to command your pitches, you don't have to be. That's the whole key. You know, you want to have 3 pitches as a starter, but if you can only command 1, maybe 2, you become predictable.
You know, there used to be an old adage that you didn't want to throw the same pitch back to back and back to back to back, but the point you make about being unpredictable, You get a pitcher who does that, you go 2 or 3 pitches back to back. This one into right. Kiermaier's there. That in and of itself puts some question in a hitter's mind.
Yeah, there's no question about it, and you have to know your hitter. Yeah. You know, to a really, you think about a guy like Miguel Cabrera, a hitter that has a tremendous track record and tracks pitches very, very well. Maybe you want to stay away from that, but with a lot of guys, fastball in, the hitter thinks he starts looking out away. You double up on a fastball in, and now the doubt starts to creep in. Will he do it again? He did it twice. Would he do it a third time? And now, if you get a hitter thinking like that, you got him right where you want him.
Not only during that at bat, but perhaps for later plate appearances as well. Hunter shortened on the bat and missed a bunt attempt. 1 strike to count to the veteran outfielder. And Evan Longoria throw right there to Loney. A 1-2-3 third. 1-0 Detroit. The third race coming into hit. Time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag SunSportsFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown at an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. Kurt Casale is going to lead off in the bottom half of the third. Casale, Kiermaier, and then Jennings. Hot shot on a line caught by the third baseman Castellanos.
That's all you can do.
Ball hit hard for the first out. Let's check in again with Todd.
Dwayne, Web Wednesday, which means fans can ask you guys a question either through Twitter at SunSportsRays, hashtag AskRays, or email us to sunsportsrays@gmail.com. A lot of questions about the guy who was initially the closer for the Rays, Grant Balfour. Obviously, 2014 has been a struggle. Where does Balfour and the Rays go? Where do Balfour and the Rays go from here, guys?
All right. Legitimate questions. First pitch is a strike to Kiermaier. Always tough when a guy who has been as dominant as Grant has been over the last few years in that closer's role came here with the same expectations. In fact, the first guy the Rays had really publicly designated as a closer, and then to have this kind of season unfold, you can understand some of the comments from Balfour after last night. Very disappointing loss for the Rays, to the point where he's wondering how long does this season go on. It's been that kind of year for him. Well, so what do you do with him? Well, that's the pending question. Tap and a race for first, out the call. Kiermaier can get down the line, and Joe Madden's going to come out of the dugout. Will Little made the call at first.
I know I'm nowhere as close to the play as Will Little, but I'll tell you right now, it looked like this is. You can understand Joe going out. This getting close down there. Maybe not. Maybe not. That ball looked like if the foot was on the bag, the glove gets into the back of the glove before the foot comes down. You see that right there. That's a good call. Wow.
Overhead.
And that last little stretch there by Kiermaier, that foot caught more in the middle of the bag, and it was as close as you could get.
You're gone now, Desmond Jennings, and he takes a strike. Well, fortunately for the Rays in that bullpen situation, Boxberger and McGee have stepped up, so there's not the sense of urgency in regard to maybe the 8th and 9th innings, but you still want to have Balfour in a situation where he can contribute to a shutdown bullpen at large.
Well, you know, when I look and assess Balfour's year, extremely frustrating for him across the board. And right now, you just wonder what his confidence level is. You read in between the lines of the things that he's saying. Now, the one thing that I will give him is the guy answers the bell. You know, he's out there, he pitches. If things don't go his way, he's out there in front of the media addressing it. He doesn't run, he doesn't hide. You know, he's out there answering the questions. But it's been a long, frustrating year all year. It started with the lack of stuff that he was used to having with Oakland. The miles per hour on the fastball were down a couple, and he's just never been able to get on a sustained roll. And so confidence-wise, you wonder where he's at. And because I don't care who you are or how accomplished of a pitcher you are, if the confidence isn't there, the results consistently will not be there.
And the question is then, how do you go about restoring that confidence that's the bedrock, along with talent, the ability to make pitches? How do you get that confidence restored?
And by getting it done in games. And by getting it done in games, you may have to go back down and break it down to the most basic of levels. You know, throwing in the bullpen, getting confidence in being able to drive a pitch to the spot that you want it every single time. And then at the end of the day, what ultimately has to happen is you have to take that out on the mound in a game like right now and get it done. That's the only thing that will build it back.
Ground ball for Kinsler. So 2 more ground ball outs in this inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Rays. 1-0 Detroit. Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Checkers, big Philly flavor, small price. Checkers Philly cheesesteak. and the new Chicken Philly, each just $1.99. By Bert Smith Volkswagen, Tampa Bay's home of driving excitement. Visit BertSmithVW.com. And by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. It takes conviction, creativity, and courage to build cars worth driving. This is the Mazda way. Back to the hill, Jake Odorizzi. Retired 7 in a row since giving up the double to Victor Martinez that chased home Cabrera. And he faces Miguel Cabrera leading off the fourth, 1-0. You know, another thought on the Grant Balfour situation. A couple of things. I think the Rays have to make an evaluation as to whether they think he can be an effective pitcher again. This one takes a hop off the glove of Longoria. Big turn at first by Cabrera. Longoria seemed set to make that play, and it popped right off the top of his glove.
We've seen some things from Evan Longoria this year that we've not seen before. This is just a routine chop right here, and it's right off of the edge of Evan's glove. You see he's watching the ball right to the glove, and then off the backside flips up over top of him. Well, you've never seen that before.
It's the 10th error of the year charged to Evan. You know, it's reminiscent of the attempt on that, what turned out to be a triple, and the attempt of the diving catch by Kiermaier. He got there, just didn't catch it. He thought he had it. This is inexplicable on the chopper down to third that Longoria could not make a play on, and it goes as an error.
Yeah, the only difference is Kiermaier's play would have been outstanding, above and beyond.
Yeah.
Evans was as routine of a play you can make.
Absolutely routine and a great play, but point being, both of these guys had the glove there, ready to make the play. It's fouled back by Victor Martinez, 0-2. I don't know what's going on or what's happening, but that's the one thing Kiermaier said about that after the game. Pretty upfront about all that. And you could argue in that situation, should you try to make a great play or not? You've got to make sure you can make the play. In his mind, he was sure that he could make the play, even to the point when he had the glove up and he didn't make the play.
Yeah, and his play, and Joe Madden backed him and said, you know, he was all for that aggressiveness.
Yeah, the line drive into right. Kiermaier there to make the catch. Throw back to first, not going to be in time. But the effort by Kiermaier. Well, here's that play last night by Kiermaier.
You know what? High risk, high reward. You're trying to make a play here. You're going to get there in time. Absolutely, you go for this. That ball just was off the thumb. It would have been an unbelievable play. You can see as the ball hits the glove, he's airborne. Both feet are off of the ground. This is unfortunately what can happen if it does not go well. But you know what? Sometimes you got to make a great play to win a ball game, and he went for it. It didn't happen. If it happened again tonight, I'd tell him dive again.
Yeah, and Madden supporting him is consistent with Madden's approach. Here's a high popper into shallow center field. Jennings is there. J.D. Martinez is out number 2. Madden has preached that all along from day one here. He wants his players to be aggressive, and if they are and something bad happens, so be it. Keep it up.
He's got athletes, and he understands that he has athletes, and you want to turn them loose. If you start getting on them for not making those plays, and you start to take away the aggressiveness, take away that go for it type of attitude, you don't want, you'll take what happened last night. You don't want the alternative.
Absolutely.
Which is to play scared, to play stiff.
Yeah, you don't want players hesitating or thinking about it or second guessing themselves. That's the quickest way to a long season. In fact, that's what happens when teams start to lose, and they compound it if they take that attitude.
Yeah, you've got to play loosey-goosey. Go out there, play a game of baseball, and let it fly. Now, there are times to be smart, and there are times to pull up and maybe let a ball, you know, drop in because of a situation in a game. Last night was not it. Yep. He got there. You know, it would have been, again, a great play, truly a great play. but he got there. It's when the guys dive and the ball's bouncing 5 feet in front of him. It's a pointless dive that will upset you, not the one from last night.
2 strikes the count to Castellanos. Stairs now 1-2. Through all of that, now back to Balfour, we haven't been able to put a bow on that, but Rays have to determine if they think he can be an effective pitcher. I think they feel that he can be and will be again, but it's getting him through what has been a nightmarish at sometimes season. High pop, foul ball. It's Loney, and that's going to drop. Loney had trouble following that one.
Well, James Loney is used to the roof here. You just wonder if it got right up into a bank of lights high and just never could get out of there. You saw him trying to tilt his head, trying to gain a little bit better perspective right there. And you could see he was in trouble there.
Yeah, that's not something you would expect from Loney unless there was a glare of a light.
Yeah, you got to believe that was right in a bank of lights.
And a liner caught by Escobar to retire the side. An error, man left. Bottom of the 4th coming, 1-0 Detroit. Around to help ignite a Rays rally. His gnome may be able to do the trick, and the Raymond Rally Gnome is available now only through the purchase of a Tampa Bay Times ticket tandem when the Rays take on the Red Sox Friday, August 29th. For tickets, visit RaysBaseball.com or call 888-FAN-RAYS. Ben Zobrist will open the bottom of the 4th in a 1-0 game. Zobrist, Joyce, and then Longoria against Rick Porcello. Porcello, normally speaking, does not make a lot of pitches per inning, and he's living true to that tonight, averaging under 15 pitches an inning. A lot of ground balls. We've seen a lot of those tonight.
Well, he throws strikes. You know, he's 10th in the American League in walks per 9 innings at 1.84 coming into play. He pounds the zone with a sinker, uses his defense. So he wants to be aggressive, and he wants early contact. He wants to get that defense involved.
You know, there was a lot of question in the offseason as to whether he might be involved in a deal. They resisted some overtures for him. Traded Fister to Washington. Curveball, and it's a foul ball. 1-2, and that confidence has paid off. He's trimmed a run plus off his ERA. He was 13-8 last year with a 4.32, 13-8 this year. with a 3.28 coming into this game.
Yeah, 6 straight seasons of double-digit wins. He's 74-58 in his career. But boy, everybody likes a sinker baller that can keep the ball in the zone. Like right there, I'll tell you what, that is a big-time pitch. Well, you're so used to looking middle away. In fact, you remember Ben Zobrist, his last at-bat, got a pitch running away off the plate, was able to double. This time, he comes in, gets a little late run, and picks up a strikeout.
Yeah, he's baseball savvy. He has baseball in his blood. His maternal grandfather was an infielder, Sam Dinty, who played in the major leagues. In fact, he was on that 1954 Cleveland Indians team that was so great. Played the Giants in the World Series. Breaking ball for a strike. Grandfather played for the Browns as well as the Indians, Senators, and the Chicago White Sox. Davis making a catch on the fly ball off Matt Joyce's bat. In tonight's game and all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. There's a little bit of a controversial trade when Dinty was traded to the Washington Senators. I don't remember who went the other way, but there turned out to be a base of fans, Senators fans, who developed a slogan that they chanted all year: "We will win plenty with Dinty," in the aftermath of that trade. And Dinty was Porcello's grandfather.
Plenty with Dinty. I know I like my pasta al dente.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Porcello gave up the double to Zobrist, and that's it so far as we play in the bottom half of the fourth. Down the left field side, but that's going to be out of play. 2 strikes the count on Evan Longoria. And strike 3 call. 2 call, 3rd strikeouts in the inning. 1-0 Detroit. It's a 1-0 game with Detroit leading the Rays with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats, and we are on the porch. And here we are mid-game. We need a little nourishment.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, Italian sausage. I think there's a pork dog in there. Wow. Thank you very
exactly.
much. How about all that?
Yeah.
I'm not sure we're going to get a chance to eat it all. I'm not sure even if we were not doing anything. This is so big.
You're gonna have to hope for extra innings with that guy.
Yeah, we got some barbecue sandwiches coming as well.
Come on.
From the Everglades Barbecue Company, a little pulled pork sandwich. So some great stuff out here.
Can roll us home.
Look at that. Yeah, we'll be here after the game for a while.
Running polls.
First pitch breaking ball. Alex Avila takes it low.
This was the night that I needed to ride my bike to the game. Long ride back home.
Gotcha.
Work some of this off.
Yep. Well, if you're out here, you're not going to go hungry, that's for sure. And you're not going to be thirsty for very long out here either, B.A.
No, not with what's lined up right here. I mean, you're looking at, anything that you want. A bar that goes about 30, 40 feet long.
Yep.
Just to our right.
Avila, after the 2-0 pitch, Kiermaier's there to make the catch. One gone. Andrew Romine. You know, Todd, I saw him a little bit before we went on. He promised to come out here, and we told him we'd have this smorgasbord for him out here. So I would expect he'll be showing up at any moment.
Well, do you remember when we took down the boomstick?
Yeah.
In Arlington?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've had enough of the on-camera eating.
1-0 is chopped foul. That's going to take the count to 1-1 to the Tiger shortstop. Right there in the middle of all our work.
So much for notes this inning.
Yep. Back into the screen. A foul ball. Now 1-2. Well, it's been a great pitching matchup, as we thought it might be, between these two young right-handers. Odorizzi allowing one run. It came in the first. And he picks up a strikeout, getting Romine looking again. The pitch started in and came back. And a strikeout for Jake Odorizzi.
Look how he stays behind the baseball and drives it right to its spot. I tell you, you are able to crowd a hitter like that. If he's not looking for it, there's not a whole lot he's going to be able to do. And another strikeout for Jake.
It's 5 for Odorizzi. Center fielder Davis takes the pitch down. 1 ball, no strikes. It's inside 2-0. Jake behind Davis, 3-0. He's a guy you want to keep off the bases because he can run. 31 steals on the year. Jake finds the zone. 3 balls and a strike.
Especially with 2 outs. You know, if he is somehow able to reach here, unless he's out in a scoring position, he's going to try to steal himself there.
Popper. Loney tracking this one with room. He's got it. And it's a 1-2-3 inning. So 1-2-3. It's a 1-0 game. Fun on the porch here at Tropicana Field. field. Well, BA and I are on the porch. Let's find out where Kelly is. Kelly, where are you?
I'm out here in the Trade Winds area, of course, here to bring you the best ALS Ice Bucket Challenge you will ever see, Rays fans. David Price involved with his former Rays buddies earlier today, taking it from the bulldozer. On Twitter, Dalton Martinez challenged his dad, bench coach Davey Martinez, David Price, and Chris Archer to take the challenge. Well, Uni, Drew Smiley, and Matt Joyce were also challenged separately. They decided to take it all on together. Who doesn't love seeing Price having fun and playing with his former teammates, right? Well, I was just reading, Dwayne and BA, the Ice Bucket Challenge has led to a 1,000% spike in donations from last year. Pretty impressive there, and of course a cause near and dear to our baseball hearts.
You're right about that, and of course ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and it's great to raise funds and awareness for that. And
there was not a lot of let up.
No.
I mean, when you bring a backhoe into things, done on a grand scale, goodness.
You know, Davey Martinez right in the middle of that was steadfast. I mean, he was right in the middle and stayed right with it and appeared to be having a great time.
He was landlocked. He wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, he couldn't.
His mouth was frozen into that.
He had no choice.
None.
Just enjoy it. There he is.
Boxed in. Say cheese. That's good work.
Strike Deloney. It's 3-1. Porcello has struck out 2, has not walked anybody. In fact, one of those complete games we noted earlier was a game in which he did not walk anyone, nor did he register a strikeout. How about that? A July 1st 4-hitter. No walks, no strikeouts. And the 9-inning shutout against Oakland. First time that's happened in the major league since Jeff Ballard of the Orioles did that in August of 1989. Lifted into left. It's going to be caught by the left fielder, J.D. Martinez.
Hey, you wondered, that's the one interesting thing being out here, watching the jumps of the outfielders as they communicate with each other, going after a ball that's in the air, and J.D. Martinez able to cut over there in front of Davis. Davis peeling behind him in case anything goes wrong. It was so important where every 90 feet means something.
It was Will Myers again after grounding out on the second pitch he saw his first time up. Back in this Rays lineup, takes a strike.
And we've seen that pitch right there from Porcello a couple of times, what looks to be a sharp little cutter, 86, 87 miles an hour. He got Loney on a ground ball to second base earlier in the game and starts Myers with it right there, 86 to the outside corner.
0-2.
Well, you cut it away from him for strike one, and then you bring the sinker in on the hands, and you just duck it underneath the swing of Myers.
How about this? That's 51 pitches now for Porcello, only 12 non-strikes. That included 3 to Loney to begin this inning. The right side, and that will twist out of play. '25-year-old right-hander. He was a first-round pick by the Tigers in '07. He was all set to go to the University of North Carolina and was drafted in the first round by Detroit, signed with the Tigers. And there's strike 3. Myers caught looking. All 3 of the strikeouts for Porcello have been called third strikes. That's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Marquee pitching matchup, Alex Cobb and the return of David Price. We'll hear from David Price on Rays Live, the pregame. All begins at 12:30. Chanel Escobar. He's down. 1 ball, no strikes. $13 in a row. Retired now by Porcello. Count is 1-1 to Escobar.
Been a quiet night for the Rays offensively, and it goes back to what you were talking about a little bit earlier, and it's the number of strikes being thrown here by Porcello, but it's not just the strikes, it's the quality of them. He is putting pitches in very tough spots, and so far the Rays have not been able to muster much of anything against the Rays, or excuse me, against the Tigers start.
And Escobar drops his bat trying to check his swing, but that's a strike.
We see him do that a lot as he starts to commit to his swing. His way of dealing with it, instead of holding up, is just to let go of it. And he went too far there, and then, no, I didn't, but by doing that, he flips it back there off the shin guards of Avila, and then immediately tries to make amends. Smart.
Out 1-2. Only run of this game came in the first. It belongs to Detroit. Just a little piece of that one, and he's still alive up there.
Boy, this would be the time for Porcello to go right back to that little cutter that he's used a handful of times tonight. He's got Yanel Escobar in that swing mode on that sinker, running down and in, cut one away.
Pretty close too.
That was it. That was the right pitch. You know, that's where you can have the right pitch and the right idea. It comes down to the execution. And if he's 2 inches closer to the plate, his inning's probably over. It's not, and now Escobar gets another shot here.
And there's a called third strike on the fastball. 4 strikeouts in the last 2 innings. 1-0 Detroit. Montgomery, 1-0 at the end of 5. Rick Porcello and Jake Odorizzi, 2 outstanding young pitchers going at it. Tigers scored the only run of this game in the first inning with 2 outs. Miguel Cabrera singled and a double by Victor Martinez up the right field line. And that moment right there gave Cabrera a chance to score, and he did. Odorizzi has been very good, giving up only one other base runner, and that was on an error. He's been matched by Rick Porcello, giving up just a double to the Rays. So we go to the 6th. Ian Kinsler, the top of the order. In the center, and Desmond Jennings is right there. It's been all pitching tonight in this 1-0 game. And Odorizzi, after that 29-pitch first, had made just 72 pitches through the first 5. That's a great recovery.
It really is, but you know, even the run that was scored by Detroit, think about the hits. Miguel Cabrera hits a soft ground ball up the middle. There's miscommunication between the Rays middle infielders. He ends up with an infield hit, and then Victor Martinez rolls over on a changeup and gets it just outside the dive of Loney, and then the ball off the edge of Kiermaier's glove. Some unfortunate circumstances there led to that run, but other than that, you're right. Jake Odorizzi has been locked in, much like Rick Porcello.
1-1 the count on Torrey Hunter. Popped up in the seats back of the plate. 1-2. Of hits, 1 run allowed, 5 strikeouts for Jake. It's a foul ball on a check swing out of play. And the Giants won that protest in their game with the Cubs. They had an extended rain delay of over 3 hours, I think. It really only rained about 20 or 30 minutes, but the ground crew had a problem covering the field. So when it rained hard. There's Loney making a nice play on Hunter's foul pop. So that game with the Cubs leading was eventually called after it was an official game. Well, the Giants still have hopes of going to the postseason. They weren't happy that because the ground crew at Wrigley could not get the field covered, and after that rain, the field was deemed unplayable. Game called. Cubs get a win. Giants suffer the loss. Giants protest, and the protest has been upheld, and the Giants will live to play again. They'll resume that at 4:05 Thursday with the Cubs up 2-0 after 4.5 official innings.
Dare I say gamesmanship? Gamesmanship. You can't get the tarp on. They only do it 1,000,000 times. I mean, it's pretty standard fare.
As protests go, that's the first protest victory since 1986. So they certainly beat the odds. It seemed as if they had solid, or in this case unplayable, grounds for the basis of that protest.
Yeah, and the showers in Chicago yesterday were so infrequent that the White Sox, who were playing at home also, didn't see a drop. Not one drop of rain on the south side.
That's a big city north to south.
Yeah. I know, I drove it last time we were there. It did take a long time.
That was your getaway before you took a few days off.
Yeah. Yeah,
you did. You covered the city pretty well, trying to get out of the city.
Through the city, out to O'Hare to pick up a rental car, then to drive back towards Wrigley, then down past U.S. Cellular.
Yeah.
It's a huge city, Dwayne. I didn't feel like I was ever going to get outside of the limits.
Yep. Well, you just enjoy it. See the sights. You worked hard for those days off. Pitch high. Full count to Miguel Cabrera.
Except when you go home and you start getting active with your kids, you realize that this is my time off. What we're doing right now.
You got a working getaway. It's ball 4. That's the first walk of the ball game. Rizzi not pleased with that. Ray's Wives will host the 4th annual Mystery Ball to benefit All Children's Hospital Saturday, August 30th. It'll be against the Red Sox, and they're doing some prep work for that right now. Mystery baseballs are autographed by Rays players and all-stars from around the league. Baseballs will go on sale at gates 1 and 5 when gates open. They're $40. For more information, visit raysbaseball.com/mystery ball. Victor Martinez. Pitch is high. 1 ball, no strikes. The only base runners in this game for Detroit tonight have been Cabrera and Martinez. Cabrera had the base hit in the first. He reached on the error in the 4th and has walked here in the 6th. And Victor Martinez doubled him home in the first inning. For the Rays, the only base runner has been Ben Zobrist. Pitching has been that dominant. One ball, no strikes, the count to Victor Martinez. Two and 0. Pitch upstairs.
Yep, last few fastballs have missed upstairs for Jake. A case of overthrowing a little bit. You understand how Cabrera and Victor Martinez can turn around a game quickly because of the way that they handle the bat. Better chance of doing that, though, when they're ahead in the count, which they are right here.
And this is down with that pitch, and it's 3-0.
That goes back to what we were talking about earlier, the way that Victor Martinez takes pitches. I mean, 2-0, he's got a certain pitch in a certain location that he's going to look for. If he doesn't get it, he doesn't even flinch towards it. Just see it down and out of that zone. Get ready to go again.
3-1. Rays dropping last night's game. They're 3-2 against the Tigers. We have Jake Odorizzi hooked up against Rick Porcello. And a 1-0 game in the 6th. It's upstairs. We have back-to-back walks to Cabrera and Martinez. Victor goes to first. Cabrera up to second, and J.D. Martinez will be the hitter. And that's Jim Hickey on his way to the mound.
Yeah, you knew that was coming. 2 outs, 2 walks. You walk a runner into scoring position. That's going to bring the pitching coach out there, give Odorizzi a little bit of a breather, and see what they're going to do against J.D. Martinez.
Congratulations to John Conser. His caption, "Lean Down for What?" was our favorite submission for this photo of Ben Zobrist. So stay tuned for our next caption challenge and your chance to be showcased live on the air. J.D. Martinez now as Rizzi is back to work after the visit. He's up again. So that's a trend that continues.
Well, a lot of times, when you're missing pitches up in the zone, you're not staying out over the rubber long enough. Front side drifts. Much better there. Sometimes going back to an off-speed pitch where you really have to get out in front to be able to execute it is the best way of getting back in sync. And that's what happened right there. You've got to remember that release point and those mechanics once you go back to that fastball. Drive it downhill.
Liner into right. Kiermaier will play it on one hop. The bases are going to be loaded. Cabrera, no opportunity to score on that base hit. So 2 walks and a single. And a 2-out threat by the Tigers.
Yeah, right play here by Kiermaier. This ball kind of almost had some cutting action off the end of the bat for Martinez, and I'll continue to harp on it. Watch Kiermaier, how quickly he gets rid of this. I tell you, he is able to get the ball from the glove to the throwing hand about as quick as anybody in the game. Cabrera here running with 2 outs, does not run well, and Kiermaier's quick release and strong throw keep him right at third.
Tigers get their 3rd hit. Castellanos, ground ball. This is Zobrist, and he makes the play. Ben up the middle, had to go far to his left. Tigers leave the bases loaded. We go to the bottom of the 6th. 1-0 Detroit. Tonight's game is brought to you at HD by H.H. Gregg. We go to the bottom half of inning 6 with the Rays down by a run. They have 1 base runner off Rick Porcello. That was a 1-out double by Ben Zobrist. He advanced to third on a ground ball in the 1st inning and was left there. There's Kurt Casale. First pitch is that opening curveball, and that's in there for a strike. Two. Porcello been very economical with his pitches. 62 pitches so far. Facing leadoff man in the 6th, Kurt Casale. One ball, 2 strikes. Kiermaier will be next. Two and two. toward the middle softly, handled by the shortstop Romine. Sally is the first out. 15 in a row for Rick Porcello.
One quality pitch after the other. This was the one hit that he gave up. A ball down away. That was not a bad pitch. A nice job by Ben Zobrist to drop it in. But that right now is the Rays' highlight. Not much after that. He gets him the next time on a fastball in that he runs to the corner. He's been really spotting up that fastball very well, cutting it every now and then. The curveball, the changeup, everything has been sharp. And the Rays, well, right there, one after the other. Right there, Kevin Kiermaier coming out there to maybe try to bunt and wrap one, but able to drop that curveball in for strike one. And you see his line has not walked anybody. We knew that coming in. Doesn't do a whole lot of that.
Curveball started to be more prominent for Porcello last year. Became an important part of the pitches he makes, and it's even more prominent this year.
He really will use that pitch, to both righties and lefties, and it's his ability to move it around the strike zone. He's not stuck in one spot. Feels comfortable enough with that pitch to move it around. And then you think about the sinker and everything else that goes with it. A lot to work with.
Kiermaier takes the pitch low, 2-1. Popped into shallow left. Romine, the shortstop. 2 gone. Well, this is a big difference from when the Rays faced Porcello in Detroit back in the first week of July. See, they jumped on him for 7 runs. They had 3 in the first before anybody was retired. Zobrist singled home Jennings, who opened with a double, and Joyce hit a 2-run home run in the first, and the Rays went on to score 7 off him in 5 2/3. Let's get some action going in the bullpen. Kirby Yates, Rizzi closing in the mid-90s through 6. 1-1. Rays had 7 runs and 11 hits off Porcello in 5 2/3 in that game in Detroit. This one deflecting off the glove of Porcello, but it's picked up by Kinsler, and the Rays are out 1-2-3 in the 6th. 1-0 Detroit. On Sun Sports is brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. It takes conviction creativity and courage to build cars worth driving. This is the Mazda way. By Bluebell Ice Cream. And by Just for Men Mustache and Beard. Just you and the look you want. So 1-0 game. The only run came in the first off Jake Odorizzi, driven home by Victor Martinez. Tigers did load the bases with 2 outs in the 6th, but a ground ball ended that threat. And so we go to the 7th. Alex Avila to lead off. Andrew Romine next, and then Rajat Davis here in the 7th inning. It's a first pitch strike. 95 pitches now for Odorizzi. He's been great. Porcello has been great. One and one. In fact, the Rays have seen Porcello retire 17 consecutive hitters since the 1-out double by Zobrist in the first. Up again with a fastball. It's 2 balls and a strike. Andrew Romine will be next. Catches the zone. 2-2. Tigers starting the day 2 back in the Central Division. There you go. And a check. Says Greg Gibson down there at third base. Close. Jake on the verge of making his 100th pitch of this game. And he strikes him out with a fastball. So 1 gone here in the top half of the 7th inning. And look who's here. Todd Callis.
I'm reclaiming my land. Here we go, guys. First of all, a lot of questions on our Web Wednesday. Ask the announcers. They wanted to know what your thoughts were with this food, just potpourri of items you had. You have the nachos, the barbecue nachos with the pulled pork, the pulled pork sandwich, a little steak sandwich. Fans were interested in your guys' take on this, and we had another question about whether you guys think that you need to see a few more hits from the Rays when you've been out here before.
Yeah, I have a couple of responses to that. Pulled pork is the pick from this end of the booth. And you're right. We'd like to see a few more hits from the Rays. As you recall, a few years ago, we did a telecast from just the left field side of center. And that was the night that Edwin Jackson threw that no-hitter against the Rays. So we were right there on the Captain Morgan deck for that one. So we've now gone through 15 innings with only 1 hit from these telecasts from the outfield. So that's got to change.
Well, and Dwayne, as you would like to say, not too good.
Not too good. Well, the Rays have 3 shots left to turn that trend around.
And I'm going to tell you right now, the way that they can do it, and they're going to need some help. You need Porcello to fall behind early in the count. He's been so good with quality strikes early. He gets you to go outside the zone a little bit, to chase just a little bit, miss the barrel of the bat. You need him to get into some 2-0, 3-1 counts. They've not been able to do that. When they do, that's when you start to force him out over the plate. And when he's out over the plate, things will flatten out and better pitches to hit. But you got to give credit to Porcello. He's not put himself in those spots through 6.
And he's only made 72 pitches. Romine strikes out for the third time tonight. Number 7 on the night for Jake Odorizzi.
Yeah, there was one follow-up to all that too, Dwayne. Had you ever done a game in the bleachers from Wrigley Field? Had you ever called a game from out there? Because getting that same perspective, I guess, out here.
Now these 2 games are the only games that I've really done from this perspective. Never done it anywhere else. That's why we'd like to see some hits and runs from this perspective.
I love it from out here. I'd like to see more hits too, but with all the friends and the fanfare back here.
Yep.
Kissing babies, signing balls in between innings.
Yep. A lot of that going on.
Yes, there is.
0-2 the count to Rajah Davis. Flips it into left. Back to left center. Joyce on the run. It's going to be over his head. He plays the carom. A 2-base hit for Rajah Davis.
Well, Davis does have some surprising pop. And he hit that ball out there deep into left center field. And it's a fastball middle up. You see a lot of these pitches swung through, but Davis is able to get on top of it and drive it.
You know, this also speaks to his strength because he had to pull the hands in a little bit and still drive that ball.
Yeah, he does have some strength. There's no question about that.
Davis is on second, and here's Ian Kinsler. First pitch is a strike, and every opportunity here, every threat is very important. With the Rays down by just 1 run, and Porcello pitching as well as he is tonight. Count. Minor, that's going to fall for a base hit. Jennings with the pickup. Davis scores, and now it's 2-0. Kinsler driving in his 66th run.
And that's going to bring Joe Madden. And what has been so frustrating about these 2 Detroit Tiger runs is both times 2 outs and nobody on. And they've been able to plate the runs. That was a changeup there that stayed up just enough for Kinsler to soft serve it out into left center field.
Jake Odorizzi will depart here. 2 outs into the 7th. 2-0 Detroit. out of this game after 6 2/3. 112 pitches for Jake. As promised earlier tonight, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo to hashtag #SunSportsFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. 2 runs to the account of the Rays right-hander. He's responsible for Kinsler, who is at first. Kirby Yates will take over.
Yeah, Kirby Yates takes over for Jake Odorizzi, but Jake threw the ball very well. Again, you go back to that first inning, the way that run scored. Davis did get to him for a nice shot and a changeup that stayed up to Kinsler. But overall, to pitch this deep into the game and just be giving up 2 runs to this lineup.
A fastball and Hunter's late, strike 1.
Yeah, that's just an overall good job. It's just the problem is Porcello's been that much better.
Yep. And not completely unexpected out of Porcello. His overall body of work this year for the Tigers has been excellent. Over to first. Kinsler back in.
Well, that's why when you go back and realize that he's lost the last 3 times he's stepped on a mound, 2 starts and a relief appearance. He was at one point 13-5. One of the losses was bottom of the 19th. Another loss was a 1-0 loss. Didn't throw the ball well his last time out. But that's why you figure he's not going to do that twice in a row. He's going to come out sharp, focused, and that's what the Rays have seen.
One to count on Torrey Hunter. Another move to first. Kinsler back in. And you can't forget about him altogether either. Kinsler with 12 steals and 15 attempts.
And with 2 outs, why not? You're absolutely right. Again, you look at that cutout, see where his lead is. It's getting out there into the aggressive area.
Hunter not going to offer, and the count is 2-1.
We'll start to work into a hitter's count here. Torrey Hunter wants to get his arms extended. He wants something out over the plate, something that he can drive. Got a big long swing, but very powerful.
Ground ball shot through the right side. Kiermaier with the pickup, advancing to second. Kinsler, and he stops there.
Well, that's what that was, a pitch that was out over the plate, moving away from Torrey Hunter. And so he just hammers this ball out into right field. A slider, it stays up.
So the veteran Hunter is aboard for the first time tonight. Men at first and second with 2 outs, and Miguel Cabrera, who's been on 3 times tonight, up here again in the 7th. First pitch strike. Tonight's cold hard facts brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. How about this among first basemen? The most multi-hit games this year. We have them both in this game. Miguel Cabrera with 42 and James Loney next with 41.
What's the one thing you can say that those 2 hitters have in common? Is the ability to use the whole field. That's how you put together games like that.
There's a move up. Heads up. Kinsler moves over to third. The ball down, popped away from Casale.
Yep. Good anticipation there by Ian Kinsler. You see a lot of guys get lazy on that, thinking, I'm already in scoring position. Cabrera's at the plate. But Kinsler aggressively on this breaking ball right here that bounds away from Casale. There's the secondary lead. A good read right there.
First and third. And he missed 2-1. To the point you were making, more hits to center field than anywhere else for Miguel Cabrera.
Boy, and just look at the distribution. That is outstanding. And it's that ability that allows you to hit for a high average. The difference between Cabrera and most others is he does it with power. Doubles, home runs.
Now it's 3 balls and a strike. The 2-out double by Davis has been converted into a run. Kinsler singled him home. Moved to second on the base hit by Hunter. Kinsler moved to third on a wild pitch. Now first and third. 3-1 to count to Miguel Cabrera. And ball 4 loads the bases. All of this with 2 gone. Hickey on his way to the mound. Victor Martinez will be the hitter.
What did we talk about last night? The way that Brad Ausmus sets up his lineup, kind of the way that Joe Madden sets his up with Kiermaier down in the 9 hole to serve as a springboard to the top of the order. Strikeout, strikeout. Rajai Davis, your 9-hole hitter, doubles left center field wall. Kinsler single. Torrey Hunter single. Now you're into the heart of the order, and you're in big trouble, all with 2 outs and nobody on.
Kirby Yates inherited 1 base runner. Giving up a hit and a walk, finds the bases loaded behind him now. Victor Martinez, we know how tough he is. He doubled in a run in the first, line to right in the 4th, and walked in the 6th inning. Rays did a good job on him last night. He was 0 for 5, but he walked with the bases loaded in the 11th inning. Part of the 3-run 11th for the Tigers. Strike. Tigers had the bases loaded with 2 outs in the 6th, left them that way. When they did not score, they have a run across the plate in the 7th inning tonight.
That's when you talk about strike zone discipline. He's going to make you come into his zone. He's not just going to be a freewheeler. More than happy to take that walk, even with the bases loaded. That says a lot about a hitter and his approach.
One and two.
That was a nice little pitch there by Yates. Some late action. Able to sneak it by Martinez. Put the count firmly in his favor. A little backdoor on that slider. And you can see Casale, the way that he went for that ball. That was a little bit of a cross up there. We'll take that one.
One and two now the count on Victor Martinez. Foul, out of play.
You know, that's why that pitch is so tough to execute. We talk about the fastball up in the zone. They wanted to elevate a heater right there. Kirby Yates is a sinker slider guy. A little bit more difficult for him to elevate. That's not part of his normal game. And that was not elevated. That was right down Broadway. Fortunate, just a foul ball.
Martinez has just unloaded with the bases loaded.
They tried to do it again. They tried an elevated fastball. That's typically not part of Kirby Yates' game. So often, you want to pitch to your strengths. You watch where Casale, he wants it up. Never gets there. Got away with the previous pitch, not this one.
So with 2 outs, the Tigers have exploded for 5. It's 6-0 Detroit. Three runs charged to Odorizzi, and now 3 to Yates. Pitch is a strike to J.D. Martinez. 6 runs, 7 hits for Detroit. Check swing and a foul ball. 0-2. That's strike 3. He gets J.D. Martinez looking, but not before Victor Martinez belts a grand slam. 5-run inning for the Tigers. We're in the middle of the 7th, and it's 6-0 Detroit. And in the bottom of the 7th inning against Rick Porcello, who has been very, very good tonight. Learn about healthy eating with the Matt Moore Plate and Cup set. Divided plate shows kids what to eat during a meal, presented by Fresh for Florida Kids and will be given to kids 14 and under while supplies last when the Rays play the Red Sox Sunday, August 31st. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Well, Rick Porcello continues to throw strikes. A first pitch strike to Ben Zobrist. It's 1-1. Zobrist doubled in the first. Caught looking in the fourth. Fly ball lifted to center. Davis makes the catch.
Number 20, Matt Joyce.
18th straight retired by Porcello.
It felt like 1-0 was close to insurmountable with the way Porcello's throwing. 6-0.
Yeah, well, with that 5-run top of the 7th, the air has been let out. And Joyce swings and misses. That's a strike. The Rays have, over the past few days, seen what playoff hopes they had dwindle down to an even longer shot. This one is down 1-1. And with the way Porcello has pitched tonight and the explosion of a 5-run 7th by the Tigers, it's a tough spot now for the Rays to keep those hopes alive. 2-1. Popped up left side, headed for the seats. That takes the count to 2-2.
Now, the one characteristic that this team has shown time and time again is there's no quit in them. They're going to battle you for the 27 outs. How many times have they looked completely inept at the plate and yet somehow managed to get the tying run to the plate, to get the winning run to the plate in some situations where it looked dire? Tough road tonight, no question at this point, but you know they're going to give it their best shot.
Breaking ball there. Joyce fouled that. With the breaking ball up, Joyce hit it sharply on the ground. Even pitches up or hit on the ground off Porcello.
So much movement late.
Right back into the screen. It's still 2-2.
And it looks tonight that the difference between the last time that we saw him in early July, the finish on the pitches. His arm speed's good. The pitches have been sharp. Obviously, he's pitched from out in front most of the night.
The left side, and that's going to drift out of play. Well, so far tonight, by my count, he's had only one 3-2 count. Loney went 3-2 in the 7th and hit a fly ball to left. This ball hit on the ground, and Kinsler makes the throw with Porcello covering.
Yeah, Cabrera kind of got caught in between there, just flat-footed, never got to the bag. That ball pulled over by Matt Joyce, and Cabrera a bystander.
2 outs. 19 in a row retired by Porcello. Evan Longoria. Ball 1. Evan 0 for 2 with a ground ball to third. Caught looking in the fourth. Lifts this one back into deep center. Davis going back, and he's going to have room and make the catch to retire the Rays in the 7th. On to the 8th we go. 6-0 Detroit. Southern Chevy Dealers game summary here as we welcome you back to Tropicana Field. It was a 1-0 game until the Tigers scored 5 in the top of the 7th inning. A big blow, the grand slam by Victor Martinez. As we go to the 8th, Nick Castellanos will open it. The Rays have Cesar Ramos in the game. Cut and a miss. Strike 1. 3 runs off Odorizzi and 6 2/3. 3 off Yates. And now Ramos on for the 36th time. Headed to short. Escobar makes the play. 1 out here in the 8th.
You start to break this game down. First of all, it's been all Rick Porcello for the Tigers pitching wise, and offensively all 6 runs have come around with 2 outs, and innings that started with 2 outs and nobody on. And that's what's so frustrating. You're 1 pitch away from ending both of those innings, and instead in the 1st and then obviously the 7th, Tigers are able to plate 6 runs.
Oliva takes a pitch down. Foul, and it's 1-1. Angels have scored 5 runs in the top of the 5th in Boston to take a 6-3 lead, but they suffered a big loss. Garrett Richards injured, covering first base, and what they are terming a left knee patella injury. Gloria over to the stands to make the catch to retire Avila. And the reports we get from Boston, it appeared to be very serious. He was taken off on a cart, and we're getting word that it was a patella injury to the left knee.
Boy, what a blow for the Angels. They've been neck and neck with the Oakland A's for that division lead out west, and Richards has obviously been a big part of it. That's tough.
Romine batting right-handed, fouls one away. That's a strike. So the Angels entered that game with a full game lead. Oakland lost earlier. So right now the Angels are a game up in the AL West. But a tough loss there of Garrett Richards. 0-2. Ramos, the third race pitcher tonight. It's in a bit, 1-2. The Rays got to 500. 61-61. They've lost 3 straight since then and down by 6 in the 8th tonight. Did he go? And he did not on the appeal.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Boy, it certainly looked like he went.
Don't you get the idea that anytime there's a considerable amount of time, just a little, it's longer than normal to go to the appeal, you don't get it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you're right.
2-2. He strikes him out. 1-2-3. Romine out on strikes. Bottom of the 8th coming. 6-0 Tigers.
It is 6-0 in favor of the Tigers, raising a big rally, or they would be in danger of falling to 8 games under 500 here at home this year. Here, Joe Madden's thoughts about why that is.
We normally make hay back home. We've been that group for a long time. to be upside down at home is really unusual for us, and that's where the season lies right now. We have not played nearly well enough here. Why? I don't think we just haven't hit as well here. It's a very good pitcher's ballpark. You may not understand that, but it is, and we just have not hit as well regarding. It's a pretty quick surface. The dimensions don't look big, but the ball doesn't carry. We just haven't hit as well here as we should.
So, guys, you look at the road record. Rays good enough to be a playoff team, but it hasn't been matched by a solid record at home.
Yeah, the Rays on the road are 33 and 29. And they have struggled at home to the tune of 28 and 35. 1-1 to count to Loney, and there's the breakout, averaging a little over 4 runs a game at home. You know, if you look at those numbers on the surface, they're not imposing numbers, but they're not bad numbers either.
No, since June 11th, that run that the Rays have gone on, where they've gone 37 and 22, they've averaged 4.44 runs a game, and that over that time frame is 4th in Major League Baseball.
And there's a base hit into center field by Loney, and the Rays get their first base runner since Zobrist singled with 1 out in the first inning. 20 hitters in a row retired by Porcello between the double by Zobrist and this single by Loney.
Now James Loney, a sinker down and out over the plate, goes right back up the middle. What new?
Leadoff base hit. There's Will Myers, who was grounded out and has been called out on strikes. Pops it up. It's Cabrera coming all the way down the line.
Trying to make up for not taking that throw from Ian Kinsler last half.
The ball hit by Matt Joyce.
Yep.
Showing his range.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Porcello, I'm saying I could have taken that and not had the basket catch it.
He's got the biggest glove out there, though. Let the biggest glove take it.
Put it to use. That's right. Put it to use.
Here's Escobar. Ground ball back to the mound. And a wide throw to first. Out at second. Loney out there and Escobar live at first base.
Boy, that's frustrating for a pitcher. You got an absolute cherry hop right here to finish this off. The throw's a little bit wide there. You see Romine, that threw off the timing of the play. Still, that throw could have and should have been made. Does a nice job of gathering it, hitting the bag, but then this one just kind of sails on him.
Now Kurt Casale. Casale 0 for 2. That's a strike. No walks. Given up by Porcello. 4 strikeouts. Given up 2 hits. And with Porcello on the mound, ground ball deep short. Romine will go to second for the force, and the Rays are out. In the 8th, we go to the 9th. 6-0 Detroit. Mazda dealers. Well, we had Jake Odorizzi, Rick Porcello starting here, and we were positioned on the porch in center field. It has been a fun experience out here. Only problem is we can't get the Rays to score any runs.
No, it's been very bad as far as a I don't know. I mean, I guess as far as the Rays' performance is concerned, but it's nice to see where Todd hangs out.
Yeah,
and it is a great vantage point for a ball game. I will say that.
It was nice of Todd to give us a deal on the rent for the night too. He has a kind heart that way.
And true to his word, for the most part, he stayed away.
Yep. I'm not sure if that was good or bad. He did drop in just to make sure that we didn't, create any damage. Trying to take good care of his environment. Davis takes the pitch too high. Rays with Ramos on the hill. Rajai Davis, the center fielder, leads off. Kinsler and Hunter will follow. One. Davis actually started that 5-run seventh when he doubled with 2 outs on a 2-strike pitch. Two and one. It's Ian Kinsler on deck. Line drive. Jennings is there and makes the catch. Desmond Jennings reading that line drive a bit to his right. Coming up on Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers. Todd and Orestes will be covering and anchoring from their desk. Joe Maddon's press conference, part of it. Kelly Nash will have interviews from the clubhouse. All of that and more, all part of our continuing coverage right after the game. Kinsler chops one foul outside of third. Strikes the count to Kinsler. Ground ball. And Zobrist, who was up the middle there with Kinsler hitting, throws him out. 2 outs. Torrey Hunter. Torrey Hunter pops it up right side and caught by Loney in foul territory. 1-2-3. Go the Tigers in the ninth. 6-0 Detroit. tonight's pitching performance presented by Volkswagen. To this point, 93 pitches for Rick Porcello, and he has been about as good as you can get. Well, 8 innings of 2-hit baseball.
It's been the quality of the strikes. The sinker has been sinking. He's moved it around the zone, and he's had a good feel of when to change locations. Going away, then all of a sudden crowding guys in. He's sprinkled in that curveball, a couple of changeup. We've seen him cut the ball a couple of times. And overall, just a masterful performance for Porcello through 8 and back out here to start the 9th.
At one point, he had retired 20 consecutive hitters. Kevin Kiermaier leads off the bottom of the 9th. There's Don Kelly taking over at first base. 1-0 the count to Kiermaier. He's faced just 2 hitters over the minimum. This one ripped into left, and it's caught by J.D. Martinez. Porcello has retired the leadoff man Kiermaier in the 9th, so he has right now faced 27 hitters. Just 2 over the minimum to this point, 1 out in the 9th.
Just a great job. I mean, not a whole lot to say about his performance outside of tremendous.
Desmond Jennings takes the pitch down for a ball, and I still have the only 3-ball count he's had tonight was a 3-2 count to lead off the 5th to James Loney, and he got him on a fly ball to left then. And a strike.
Well, the way to have success against Porcello is try to force him up in the zone. The best way to do that is for him to fall behind in the count. He's just not done that all night long.
The liner into right center field off Jennings' bat. Hunter with the pickup, and there's a base hit for Desmond. Hit number 3 for the Rays. 1 out base hit.
This is one that just does not quite get in on Desmond, and he's able to stay inside it, level out that swing. Shot of it there, shooting that out into right center field.
There's Ben Zobrist.
If they could do that 8 or 9 more times, this could get interesting.
Well, let's see.
So one thing about baseball, there is no clock. Got to record the outs.
Well, if you earn your way to extend the game, you can extend it. You run out of outs, not time. Oh, 1 the count on Ben Zobrist. He strikes this one deep to right toward the corner, and it's out of play. Foul ball. Well, another big pitching matchup tomorrow. As Porcello has hit 100 pitches. Alex Cobb and David Price square off tomorrow. We'll be with you at 12:30. Our coverage begins leading up to a 1:10 first pitch. This one popped into right center. Hunter makes the catch. We have 2 outs in the 9th. Now it's Matt Joyce. Porcello is an out away from a shutout. Shutout Texas and Oakland on the 26th of June and the 1st of July. Jennings heads into second base uncontested. Indifference. Porcello 1 out away from spinning his 3rd shutout of the year. Rays staff has 15 shutouts, and they have been shut out 14 times this year. That's at the knees for a strike on Joyce. 1-1. So Porcello has gone from giving up 7 runs in 5 2/3 innings to the Rays back on July the 6th to giving them almost nothing tonight. And popper on the right side. That's Kelly. And this game is over. A complete game shutout for Rick Porcello. He faces only 3 men over the minimum. So his 3rd shutout ties him with Henderson Alvarez for the major league lead. Alvarez has a shutout over the Rays, and so does Rick Porcello now, whose record will go to 14-8. We'll be back with the totals in a moment.